Welcome back this week. This is season 3, episode 2. I'm Renzo Rossato.
And I'm Gaston Rossato.
And today we have the privilege of having these gorgeous art pieces with us.
That's absolutely right, guys. We're talking about the 1952 1900 C52 DV Fianchi Stretti, award-winning car built by the renowned OHA Automobili of Argentina.
Let's jump into the history of the cars, but before that, hit that subscribe button for us. All right, Gaston, we're sitting in these beautiful machines that is just a joy to drive. Let's clarify a little bit the name. What does Disco Volante really stand for?
Right, so you'll see the abbreviation a lot, DV, obviously meaning Disco Volante, which translates into a flying saucer, because the original design of this car by Carrozzeria Touring was very much a flying saucer looking type car with very wide fenders and quarter panels. But the cars that we're sitting in today are DVs, but they're a variation of that car known as the Fianchi Stretti.
So Fianchi Stretti meaning narrow hips.
So there's only one Fianchi Stretti in existence today, the original car produced by Alfa Romeo in a French collection, the Schlumpf collection. The cars that we're sitting in today are reproductions of OHA Automobili, an Argentinian-based company dedicated to producing these handmade aluminum bodies, not on just the Alfa Romeos, but many other cars, including Mercedes, even one-off Ford, which they've actually won 3 awards at Autoclasica.
So you're telling me that this car that we're sitting in are hand-rolled aluminum cars?
It's all hand-rolled aluminum.
That is
one by
impressive.
one, months of production. It goes into each and every single vehicle. I believe I'm sitting in car number 5 and you're sitting in car number 4 of production. The engines are from Alfa Romeo. This is a 2-liter, that's a 1.6 liter, the double overhead cam.
Right.
The standard motor for those cars, although this car did come with a 1900.
Right, so the original DV came with a 2-liter aluminum block engine,
which was the platform for the 1900 Berlina. So a lot of the parts from the Berlina were transferred into the original Disco Volantes, including that engine.
And remember, these Disco Volantes were produced by the race division of Alfa. They use a lot of the parts from the Berlina, like you mentioned, to produce this car because of budgeting at the time.
Right, it's very important to understand these are race cars. Not only is it just the feel that you're getting, but the tools that they would use back in the 50s are the same exact ones they're using today at OHA Automobili to fabricate these cars. The process is very genuine to really combine all those elements to say, you know, this is what it really feels like to drive this car.
Let's talk about why the Fianchi Stretti exists. And the reason it exists is because the original DVs had that ogival body shape, which was meant for aerodynamics and had the least drag resistance at that time.
Yeah, I think it was a coefficient of 30.
Yeah, something very low. It's the lowest that ever existed in that time. But when it was tested at high speeds, the car was very unstable. It would actually lift. Because of that, they made this design of a body and cut out those extra, I guess,
fender
flares off on the side.
And all that was done by Touring using their Superleggera technology, because this is a tubular space frame, the entire car. So very lightweight. Again, the purpose is racing.
So Superleggera meaning super light.
In fact, this was a very controversial design, but ultimately becomes almost like the platform for many other manufacturers for race cars of the 50s and the 60s. It's a very understated car, a car that not a lot of people know about. It's kind of remained almost in the shadows, and given that there's only one in the world, you can understand why.
So the DV, there was a total of 4 of them produced, one being a coupe, one being a spider, and then we have the Fianchi Stretti, and one that has a 3-liter cast iron block in it.
And there was said to be a 5th, but that car was destroyed or dismantled by Alfa Romeo due to budget reasons.
Right, so to use as parts for another build.
But the fact is, out of the 4 existing cars, not one is identical to the other. They're all different. So there's not a standard when it comes to the Disco Volante, which was actually not the official name for the car. We know that it was a 1900 C52.
Correct, but the workers over at Touring gave it that nickname and it stuck. I think it's a really cool fact to point out that this car was produced after the 1951 Formula One World Championship win by Alfa Romeo.
By Alfa Romeo, exactly. That's kind of what launched the production of these cars, which were essentially prototypes.
So after the 1951 Formula One win, they actually backed out of competition because of budgeting during that time. But the competition division of Alfa did not stop producing cars, and this is where the DV was born. And it was produced so they can sell it to amateur drivers and racers so they can continue the name.
It was mostly a branding strategic program. Absolutely.
Yes.
You're absolutely right, Renzo. The heritage and the history of these cars is absolutely very significant. That's what I really love about the work that OHA Automobili is doing in Argentina.
We do know that they were very meticulous to follow what the car truly is.
Well, they actually went and visited the car. They photo documented the car, and they were given 1 hour to measure the car. So the car was fully measured, fully photo documented, and then handcrafted based on that documentation.
Alright guys, this wraps up this week's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It was an absolute blast, and I want to give OHA Automobili of Argentina a special thanks for giving us the opportunity to showcase these cars today. We're going to give you a little bit more in depth about this particular car in the coming weeks and future episodes.
So you got to stay tuned and subscribe for that.
That's right, but I love what Argentina is doing with the car culture, you know what I mean? OHA is a good example. We have a Pagani hood behind us, another good example. So I couldn't be prouder. I want to thank you guys for watching. Join us next week.
I'm Renzo Rossato.
And I'm Gaston Rossato.
Peace out.